Hello, I'm Letitia Johnson, the Vice President of Cancer Control for the South region of the American Cancer Society, the region that is proud to say that the great state of Texas is included in our series. Viruses have been on our mind a lot these days as our country is gripped by the coronavirus or COVID-19. We have all experienced drastic changes to our lives and our daily activities. And in the recent news, we're seeing a spike in younger people. As parents, we are all trying to do everything that we can to protect ourselves and our children from this virus in the hopes that there will soon be a vaccine to protect them, a vaccine that people across the world are desperate for. But today, I want to talk to you about a virus that is even more common than COVID-19, a virus for which there is already a vaccine to protect children, but less than half of Texas children have completed vaccination. If you look at the picture on the slides, you'll see a very long line. This picture is San Antonio, Texas, and these people are not in line to get hand sanitizer. This is from 1950s, and they were in line to try and fight another deadly virus. Sometimes in our country, we forget that our country and the world have been gripped by epidemics and pandemics for a long time. In this video of the Civic Auditorium in San Antonio, these parents and their children are in line to get polio vaccine. There was a time in our lives where the thought of a child being crippled by polio, the thought of a child being in an iron lung because they could not breathe on their own due to the poliomyelitis virus were very frightening, incredibly frightening for parents and for children. And then a vaccine came along, and we know now what that vaccine has done to almost eliminate polio across the world, but certainly in the United States. What we want to do is talk with you today about the opportunity to do the same with a vaccine that exists for HPV. So what is HPV? Human papillomavirus. It is a very common virus. There are more than 150 strains of it, and 80% of adults probably have been exposed to and even gotten the human papillomavirus in their lifetime. But over our lifetime, our bodies do one of two things. The virus either goes away, or unfortunately, in too many cases, the HPV virus can go on to cause cancer, up to 15 types of cancer. The great news is, as I mentioned earlier, there's a vaccine that can protect our children against it. So I want to tell you a little bit about why the American Cancer Society is talking to you about this vaccine. In fact, I want to tell you a little bit about why I am personally talking to you about this vaccine. I told you about my role with the American Cancer Society, a role that I'm honored to hold. But the most important role to me is the role of being a mom. I'm actually mom to two amazing daughters. My daughters were adopted. When they were born exposed to a virus that their birth mom had, which greatly compromised their immune systems. So throughout their lifetime, they have had to take thousands of tablets of medicine every day. They have had hundreds of doctor's visits and special procedures, and they've had many, many hospitalizations. And as the mom, I can tell you, I would give anything if there had been a vaccine that could protect my girls from this virus-caused disease that they have, but there wasn't. So in 2006, when my oldest was the right age to get the vaccine, and the human papillomavirus vaccine had just come out, I took her to her pediatrician for a regular visit, and I was very fortunate. Her pediatrician said to me, because your daughter has a compromised immune system, and because this amazing vaccine can prevent several kinds of cancer and she's immunosuppressed, she needs to have it today. I never hesitated for two reasons. I trusted my pediatrician, but I was fortunate enough to already know about the vaccine and already know about the way that vaccine can prevent cancers. So I did not, as I said, hesitated. My daughter got the entire series, and then later when my younger daughter was at the right age, she got the entire series. So I consider myself two things: very informed and very lucky. There are, unfortunately, many parents that in my work with the American Cancer Society, I've had to have the following conversations. Conversations about mothers and dads who sat by the bedside of their daughters who were being treated for cervical cancer, or sat by the bedside of their sons who were being treated for head and neck cancer, and having to tell their children the story of, yeah, when you were a kid, your pediatrician mentioned this vaccine to me, but for some reason, I chose not to have it given to you. And maybe, in fact, probably, if I had made a different choice, you wouldn't be in this hospital bed today and we wouldn't be having this conversation. I have seen the look of hurt and guilt in the eyes of those parents. And I don't ever want any parent to have to go through that experience with their children 10, 15, 20 years down the road. So I want to talk to you more about this great vaccine, why the American Cancer Society is wanting to increase these vaccination rates in Texas, and how you can help. So the most important thing about this vaccine is to let you know it prevents cancer. But because I know a lot of parents are always concerned about how safe and how effective is this vaccine for my child, let's go over some of those points as well. On the slide, you can see this vaccine is effective. You'll see on the slide the 6 kinds of cancer that this vaccine is effective in preventing. You'll unfortunately see also under screening tests, there's really only a way to get screened for one of these types of cancer, and that's cervical. The others we can't even screen for. But here's the really great news. This vaccine is 90% or greater effective in all of the children that get it in preventing these 6 types of cancer. That is an efficacy rate that I know many of us would want for any kind of medical procedure. To know that if our child got it, that of all the children that get this vaccine, it's 90% effective in preventing 6 types of cancers. But of course, I know that as parents, all parents are concerned with safety. So let's talk a little bit about the history of this vaccine since it was released in 2006. So since that time, over 160 million doses of this vaccine have been given. So there is a track record, a long track record of the safety profile of this vaccine. And there have been 109 studies that have been done in over 6 countries. And what those studies have found is that this vaccine is safe, and there have been no reports of serious negative side effects from this vaccine other than what children get with any normal vaccine. Some swelling at the sites, some redness, some irritation. So this vaccine has a proven track record now of over 10 years with many children immunized, and these same children have gone on to have no side effects from the vaccine. So we've talked about the fact that the vaccine prevents cancer, it's effective, and it's safe. So why do we need you? Why am I talking to you today? Why am I pleading with you to help the American Cancer Society get the message out that Texas children need to be immunized against HPV and have this vaccine, this safe, effective vaccine that prevents cancer? Well, these are some of the points that I hope you can use as talking points as you hopefully will join us in reaching out to other parents to share this message. The first thing is to remember that HPV, or human papillomavirus, is a common virus that can cause up to 15 types of cancer, but definitely the 6 types of cancer that the vaccine can prevent. The second thing is that HPV vaccination is cancer prevention. It's that simple. This vaccine, there's no other story that needs to be told about it except that HPV vaccination is cancer prevention. And I've worked for the American Cancer Society 22 years now. This organization has been out there fighting cancer for over 105 years now. Having a vaccine that can prevent cancer is a dream that so many employees of the American Cancer Society, providers who work with the American Cancer Society, and volunteers and donors of the American Cancer Society have dreamed of for those 105 plus years. And it's here. And we want to see not the fear that you saw in that first slide, having those parents lined up for polio vaccine. We want to see those kinds of lines for the hope and the promise of a vaccine that prevents cancer. Also remember, HPV vaccine is for boys and girls. It's for all of our children. HPV vaccination works the best when it's given the ages between 9 and 12, because that's when children's immune systems are at their peak and where the vaccine has the greatest opportunity to take effect in their bodies. And then that HPV vaccine is, as we have talked about in previous slides, safe and effective. A vaccine that prevents cancer that is safe and effective, yet we know under half of Texas boys and girls have completed their immunization series for HPV vaccine. That's really an ethical dilemma that we need your help in solving. So I am asking you to use your influence with moms and dads all across Texas and get the facts. Please go to cancer.org/HPV Texas so that you can find out all the benefits of protecting our children against human papillomavirus. Thank you so much for supporting and joining in this effort to make sure that Texas boys and girls don't have to hear 20, 15, 30 years down the road, you've got cancer. For any of these 6 types of cancer that we know HPV vaccine is safe and effective in preventing. Thank you for your time.